Rescue teams saved a drowning elephant from floodwaters. A real miracle. The rain came down in sheets, relentless, as if the sky itself had torn open. In a small village, nestled between sprawling forests and winding rivers, the world had turned to water. Streets became torrents, homes became islands, and the air was thick with the roar of floodwaters. Amid this chaos, a desperate cry echoed, not human, but something far larger, far heavier. An elephant, a gentle giant revered by the village, was trapped in the raging current. Its massive frame thrashed against the muddy deluge, its trunk raised in a plea for survival. This wasn't just any animal. It was a symbol of strength, a creature that had walked these lands for decades, now fighting for its life against nature's fury. The villagers, helpless on the riverbank, could only watch as the flood swallowed their beloved elephant. Its eyes, wide with fear, locked onto the crowd as if begging for a miracle. The water was merciless, pulling at its legs, dragging it toward a deeper, darker fate. Whispers of despair spread among the onlookers. How could something so powerful be so vulnerable? But hope wasn't lost. Word had spread, and a rescue team was on its way, racing against time and the relentless storm. These weren't ordinary people. They were experts in animal rescue, armed with courage and a fierce determination to save this majestic creature. This is the story of an impossible mission, a tale of human grit and nature's wrath colliding in a moment that would leave everyone breathless. The odds were stacked against them. The floodwaters were rising, the elephant was weakening, and every second counted. Yet what unfolded that day wasn't just a rescue, it was a miracle. A testament to what happens when heart and heroism meet head-on with disaster. Stick with me as we dive into this incredible true story, where a team of everyday heroes faced the unthinkable to save a drowning elephant from the jaws of a flood. Heart of the village, the elephant was more than an animal. It was family. Known as Maya, she was a 40-year-old matriarch. Her weathered grey skin a map of years spent roaming the forests and helping farmers with heavy loads. Her gentle eyes and slow, deliberate steps had made her a beloved figure, a living legend who'd carried children on her back during festivals and nudged saplings into the soil with her trunk. Maya was the village's pride, a symbol of resilience in a region where life was often shaped by the rhythms of nature. But now, nature had turned against her. The flood had come without warning. Days of endless rain had swollen the river until it burst its banks, transforming the peaceful valley into a churning sea of mud and debris. Homes were swept away, crops vanished, and the village was cut off from the outside world. Maya, grazing near the riverbank, had been caught off guard. The ground beneath her gave way, and the current pulled her into its grasp. Her massive weight, once a source of strength, became a liability as she struggled to keep her head above water. Her trumpets of distress echoed through the storm, a sound that broke the hearts of those who heard it. The villagers tried to help, but the flood was too powerful. Some threw ropes, others shouted encouragement, but the water only grew fiercer. Maya's strength was fading, her movements sluggish as exhaustion set in. She was a giant, but even giants could fall. The river was relentless, dragging her toward a bend where the current was deeper and more treacherous. The villagers knew they couldn't save her alone. Word spread beyond the village, carried by a desperate phone call to a regional animal rescue organization. Time was running out, and Maya's fate hung in the balance. This wasn't just about one elephant, it was about a community's spirit, a creature that embodied their connection to the land. The flood had already taken so much, but losing Maya would be a blow too heavy to bear. As the rain continued to pour, hope rested on the rescue team, still miles away, battling their own obstacles to reach the stranded giant. The stage was set for a battle against nature itself, and the question loomed. Could they reach Maya before the flood claimed her? The rescue team's truck roared through the muddy trails, its tires slipping on the rain-soaked earth. They were a group of 6, veterinarians, wildlife experts, and volunteers, each with a fire in their hearts to save animals in peril. Led by Arjun, A seasoned rescuer with a reputation for tackling impossible odds, the team had faced everything from trapped leopards to stranded cattle. But an elephant in a flood? This was uncharted territory even for them. As they neared the village, the sight that greeted them was grim, a landscape drowned in brown water. With Maya's massive form barely visible in the churning river, Arjun leapt from the truck, his eyes scanning the scene. The elephant was half submerged, her trunk raised like a periscope, gasping for air. The current was pulling her toward a tangle of fallen trees, a death trap that could pin her underwater. The team unloaded their gear, ropes, harnesses, and a small inflatable raft, while Arjun barked orders. The villagers, soaked and shivering, filled them in. Maya had been in the water for hours, and her strength was nearly gone. The team's radios crackled with urgency as they assessed the situation. The river was too deep to wade, the banks too unstable to anchor heavy equipment, and the rain showed no sign of stopping. The challenges were daunting. The floodwaters were unpredictable, hiding submerged debris that could injure both Maya and the rescuers. The elephant's size, normally an asset, made her harder to maneuver. A wrong move could exhaust her further or push her into deeper water. Arjun's team huddled, their faces grim but determined. They knew the clock was ticking. Maya's labored breathing was a stark reminder that every minute mattered. The villagers watched, their hope now pinned on these strangers who carried the weight of a miracle on their shoulders. Arjun's voice cut through the storm, rallying his team. They would need to work fast, using every ounce of skill and ingenuity to outsmart the flood. The plan was forming, but it was risky. A combination of ropes, human strength, and sheer willpower to pull Maya to safety. As they moved into position, the rain stung their faces, and the river roared its defiance. This was more than a rescue. It was a test of human spirit against nature's fury, and the team was ready to fight. The rescue began with a calculated risk. Arjun's team split into two groups, one to secure ropes around Maya's massive frame, the other to stabilize the riverbank for a makeshift anchor point. The raft, barely large enough for two rescuers, bobbed precariously as they paddled toward the elephant. Maya's eyes, clouded with exhaustion, flickered with a spark of recognition as the team approached. She trumpeted weakly, a sound that spurred the rescuers on. The water was freezing, the current pulling at their legs, but they pressed forward, driven by the knowledge that failure wasn't an option. The first challenge was getting the ropes in place. Maya's thrashing made it dangerous to get close, and the water's force threatened to sweep the rescuers away. One volunteer, Priya, a veterinarian with a knack for staying calm under pressure, edged closer, whispering soothing words to the elephant. She managed to loop a heavy-duty rope around Maya's torso, securing it with a knot designed to hold under strain. The team on the bank pulled, testing the line, but the current fought back, dragging Maya further downstream. Arjun shouted adjustments, directing the team to reinforce the anchor with a fallen log wedged into the mud. The second attempt was more coordinated. The team used the raft to ferry additional ropes, creating a harness that distributed pressure across Maya's body. The villagers joined in, forming a human chain to haul the ropes, their hands raw from the wet fibers. The rain blinded them, the wind howled, but they pulled in unison, chanting Maya's name like a prayer. Slowly, agonizingly, the elephant began to move toward the bank. Her legs, weak but still fighting, churned against the current, aiding the team's efforts. A cheer rose from the crowd, but it was short-lived. A sudden surge in the floodwaters yanked Maya back, snapping one of the ropes. Panic rippled through the team, but Arjun's voice steadied them. They doubled down, replacing the broken rope with a spare and adjusting their strategy. Priya climbed onto a nearby rock, using a long pole to guide Maya's trunk away from the water's surface, helping her breathe. The team's ingenuity shone through. They tied a second raft to the first, creating a floating platform to support Maya's weight. Hours passed, each minute a battle against the flood's relentless pull. The rescuers' muscles burned, their clothes clung to their skin, but they refused to give up. Maya, sensing their determination, seemed to rally, her movements growing stronger as she fought alongside them. The final push came as the rain began to ease. With one last heave, the team and villagers pulled Maya onto a shallow bank, her massive body collapsing onto the mud. She was out of the water, but not yet safe. The team rushed to her side, checking her breathing, her pulse. Maya's chest heaved, her eyes blinking slowly, as if acknowledging the humans who had risked everything for her. The rescue wasn't over, but the worst was behind them. The village erupted in cheers, tears mixing with the rain on their faces. The moment Maya's hooves touched the muddy bank, something shifted. The air, heavy with tension, seemed to lighten. The elephant, exhausted but alive, lay panting as the rescue team swarmed around her. Priya knelt beside Maya, her hands gentle on the elephant's flank, monitoring her heartbeat. It was steady, a quiet victory against the odds. The floodwaters still roared nearby, but they no longer held Maya in their grip. This was the miracle the village had prayed for, a moment when hope triumphed over despair. What made this rescue extraordinary wasn't just the physical feat, though that alone was staggering. It was the convergence of human will, teamwork, and an unspoken bond between the rescuers and Maya. The team had faced impossible conditions, a river that refused to yield, a storm that showed no mercy, and an elephant whose size made every move a gamble. Yet they'd found a way, piecing together a plan that balanced brute strength with delicate care. The broken rope, the surging current, the moments when all seemed lost, each had been a test and they'd passed. The villagers, too, played their part. Their voices chanting Maya's name had carried through the storm, a reminder of why this fight mattered. As Maya lifted her trunk, weak but deliberate, and let out a low rumble, it was as if she was thanking them. The crowd fell silent, awestruck by the sight of their beloved elephant breathing on solid ground. Arjun, soaked and exhausted, allowed himself a small smile. This was why he did this work. Not for glory, but for moments like this, when life won against all odds. The miracle wasn't just Maya's survival. It was the way it brought everyone together. Strangers and neighbors, experts and farmers, all united for one purpose. The flood had torn the village apart, but saving Maya had stitched it back together. As the team stabilized her, wrapping blankets to keep her warm, the villagers began to sing, their voices rising above the fading storm. It was a song of gratitude, of survival, of a miracle they'd all witnessed. In the days that followed, Maya began to recover. The rescue team stayed in the village, monitoring her health, ensuring she regained her strength. Her appetite returned, and soon she was nibbling on sugarcane offered by the children who'd once ridden on her back. The village, still reeling from the flood's devastation, found hope in Maya's survival. She became a symbol of resilience, proof that even the darkest moments could give way to light. The villagers rebuilt, their spirits lifted by the memory of that day. The rescue team, now local heroes, shared stories of the operation over cups of tea. Arjun spoke of the moment he thought they'd lose her, when the rope snapped and the current surged. Priya recalled Maya's eyes, how they'd held a spark of trust, even in her weakest moments. The team's bond with the village grew, a connection forged in mud and rain. They left behind not just a saved elephant, but a story that would be told for generations. This rescue reminds us of what's possible when we refuse to give up. It's a story of human courage, of people who faced a raging flood to save a creature they loved. It's about Maya, a gentle giant who fought to survive, and a community that fought alongside her. It's a call to action, to protect the animals who share our world, to stand together in the face of crisis, and to believe in miracles, even when the odds seem impossible. So, what can you do? Support conservation efforts, learn about the animals in your region, and share this story to inspire others. Hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and join us for more stories of hope and heroism. Because in a world full of challenges, stories like Maya's remind us that miracles are real, and they start with us.